All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We are here from the KFES Digital News Desk. Jim Dufek here with us today, retired Southeast Missouri State University professor, mass media professor. Jim, how are you doing today?
Doing great, yeah, excellent. Enjoying the opportunity coming in to visit with you. I love these one-man shop things you're doing, so
yeah,
you're doing a great job with
Thank you,
so.
Appreciate that,
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Do you mind, Jim, I mean, it's kind of weird. It's in that nebulous zone where former professor in department and
Jim is fine, yeah,
please, graduated student, and
yeah,
you know,
but you came out of the program, so no, that's great. Yeah.
Well, I know that the university has recently, announced the scholarship in your honor, and can you tell us more about how that came about?
Well, actually, it was a big surprise. I retired up to 39 years, and at the retirement celebration, it was announced at that time that there was a Jim Dufek storytelling scholarship was being created in my honor, and lots of family, friends, former students have contributed to it, and it's come to fruition. It's realized, and now we'll be able to recognize a student who is a storyteller in the program. Preference given to a TV film. That's my bailiwick when I came out of the program. So storytelling, and you know this, you're out of the program, we're all storytellers.
Yeah.
I don't care which medium we're in. If you're doing a commercial, you're telling a story, right? 30-second little spot, or a newsprint, or radio, or television. We're all storytellers in some capacity. So the scholarship will be dedicated to those that have a visual element to it, but it's not unlike them to surpass that and go to someone that has qualifications to be a great storyteller.
Sure.
So that's a long answer to your question, but that's where it came from.
That's wonderful. And I imagine, so much of that being a part of your department, so much a part of also your involvement with it, because, and I didn't realize this, with, your time there at SEMO, being a part as a founding member of the mass media department.
Yeah. I came the year it started. It was part of the English and speech program, and they formalized it and then collectively had faculty just to be able to come in to teach media. So that was in '83 when I started, and that was the beginning of the program. Yeah. And back then we had, and you'll appreciate this, we had 2 cameras, which we used for in-studio and remote.
Yeah.
We had a small little radio station. We had an antiquated newsprint area for our student newspaper. But we persevered, and we had the numbers, and we all just pulled together because we didn't have the technology that we have today with our phones being our cameras and our recorders. We had stuff that we had to take out, and if it wasn't operational, we had to come up with a plan B.
That's
so
awesome.
it was a good training program for a lot of the students at the time who have gone on to do great things in the profession. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. It was the beginning, and it was it's almost an anachronism now, but we look back and the foundation is still there for storytellers. It's just a matter of which tools you're using to tell the story.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's wonderful stuff. And I am, with that, we were talking a little bit beforehand about, comparing to like teaching history versus teaching a dynamic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the dynamism of media is something all its own, right? You think so?
Changes every day. I mean, I like I said, when I first started, the formats that I've gone through, from 16mm film all the way to now a digital acquisition format where there is no tangible acquisition.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's exciting because it gives the opportunity to be able to tell your story without all the mechanics of trying to put it together and the logistics of something going wrong. It makes you freer to be a storyteller.
Sure.
It's like having a palette and having all the paint and brushes that you want.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what this new technology is doing. So it changes all the time. And no disparaging to other professions, but ours changes every day.
Yeah.
It does. It's an everyday thing. And all of us in professions, especially academia, we all had to adapt to and modify the way we teach, the way we learn, the acquisition, the distribution, all through the technology, digital technology. So
yeah,
good things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know as well, when it comes to talking about that storyteller dynamic, and you mentioned some of that about speech and writing is kind of the initial program that it stems
Yep.
from and with. Thinking about filmmaking is then something that has a presence then at Southeast. What do you think is kind of the importance of that, having seen it develop, mature over your time there?
And I'm out just for a few months, but for the years that I was there, the students that came in always had a passion to tell. In my area, it was a visual storytelling passion. So being able to tell those stories through that medium was how they wanted to do that. And they would recognize not just the mechanics of film or videotape or digital acquisition. It was being able to frame it, compose it, capture the emotion, editing, music, sound effects, all of those things combined were part of that storytelling technique. So where does that come from? It comes from an innate passion for people that want to be able to tell stories, like yourself. I mean, you probably thought when you were in high school you wouldn't be doing this, but somewhere in that educational, it sparked something in you to be able to want to tell a story.
For sure, absolutely. And let me tell you, the journalism has always stuck with me for a long time, but being there and taking screenwriting, things like that, spoke to me in terms of kind of the convergence of the media landscape that I was already getting into with the artistic side, so that's a powerful combination.
It is. The right tools and being able to take that idea that you have formed and then to be able to put it in some tangible way of seeing it, hearing it, reading it. That's a talent. Sure. And I think the educational component, we massage those areas to make you a better storyteller. Sure. But something has to come from within for you to be able to want to do that.
Yeah. Can you tell us again before we close the concept, the overview of what the scholarship is about?
It's a surprise for me because it was created without my input, certainly in my honor, as a visual storytelling component where we want to be able to recognize those individuals that use the visual medium to be able to tell stories. Yeah. And every part that we do now, every aspect from our phones, you can do TikTok, you can do broadcast, you can do YouTube, whatever it is, it's a visual storytelling element. So the scholarship itself will help defers the costs of being able to go to school and to be able to use that money to then promote those students that want to be able to be those storytellers. So, and I again, it's an honor to be recognized with this from my colleagues and friends and family, and I'm just thrilled that someone will be able to use that monetarily to be able to help in the educational component.
That's wonderful. Yeah. All right, anything else you want to mention before we wrap up today?
No, but congrats on all your great work here. I think people don't recognize how much you're doing individually of yourself. There's, you're doing cameras, you're doing audio, you're doing the editing. That's a great thing. So it tells you how powerful you are to be able to control everything. So congrats on all the great stuff you're doing here. So.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you. That means a lot.
Good.
And thank you for being here.
You're
appreciate
welcome.
your time.
Yeah, you bet.
And to our audience as well, appreciate you spending the time with us here. Stick around, more local news headlines just around the corner.